It's your boy back with my Week 8 NFL predictions and, of course, some fantasy football nuggets. 8-7 last week. It's not going to get it. We'll be better this week. Saw a devastating injury happen out there in Tampa. We're less than 2 weeks away before the NFL trade deadline. Saw one trade happen already in favor of those Chiefs. Got another big name wide receiver possibly on the move. We shall see. What did I do with my cup? Anyway, no further ado, let's just get into this. Starting with our Thursday night game, we got the 5-1 Minnesota Vikings coming off a loss to those Lions. Heading to LA to take on these 2-4 Rams, coming off a victory over my Raiders. Wasn't like Matthew Stafford lit it up. I mean, he threw for 145 yards, no touchdowns, threw a pick. Wasn't like the receivers did much of anything. Of course not. Kyren Williams, yeah, he's probably the reason why they got the victory. 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's all good. So welcome back, Cooper Kupp. But for how long? I think this is his last game playing for the Rams. A lot of talk, a lot of chatter. The Steelers are in the mix, plus some other teams. We'll see. I think this is going to be a Minnesota bounce-back game. They're going to destroy these Rams. I mean, they're coming in the number 2 fantasy defense, number 2 rush defense, which, of course, right now is the Rams' strength before Cooper Kupp, before Puka Nacua. Pretty good game for Aaron Jones. He just missed 100 yards when he rushed for 93, got him a touch. Justin Jefferson missed 100 yards receiving, but he also got a touch. They're holding it down over there. They're waiting for T.J. Hockenson to come back. I'm waiting for him to come back to give this team a boost. They're real deal. They just got one loss. I think they're going to get a 6th victory. Final score, 28-21 Vikings. Kicking off our 1 o'clock games, we got the 5-2 Green Bay Packers coming off a victory over those Texans last week in a very good game. Hitting the road to Florida to take on these 2-5 Jacksonville Jaguars, coming off a victory of their own over those Patriots. Is there enough time for this Jacksonville team to turn it around this year? I don't think so. But Trevor Lawrence had an efficient game. 193 yards passing, threw a touch, no interceptions. Brian Thomas Jr. was his number 1 receiver, receiving yards, 89 of them, no touchdowns. Christian Kirk, he shouldn't be on your fantasy team. He should be on the waiver wire, buried. And then Evan Ingram, he came back down to earth, only 35 yards receiving. Matter of fact, the man of the hour on this squad last week was Tank Bigsby. 26 carries, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. He balled. Good luck getting your job back, Travis Etienne. But with all that said, Jordan Love and this Green Bay team is going to be too much for this Jacksonville squad. I mean, offense, defense, special teams. But he threw for 220 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. One of those receiving touchdowns went to Josh Jacobs, catching his first ever receiving touchdown of his career. Wow, Raiders. How about Romeo Doubs? Led the team in receiving yards and receptions. We have 8 for over 90 yards. No touchdowns. Jaden Reed didn't have his best game. This team is still number 5 ranked offense in the league, number 7 passing the ball, number 3 rushing the rock. Even have the number 3 overall defense in fantasy football. A complete team right here. Think they're going to get it done on the road. Final score, 21-17 Packers. Got the 3-4 Arizona Cardinals coming off a victory over those Chargers. Hitting the road to Miami to take on these 2-4 Dolphins, coming off a loss to the Colts. Kyler Murray and company didn't do a lot passing the ball. I mean, he passed for 145 yards, threw a touchdown, also threw a pick. But he did his things with his legs. 64 yards. He had a nice little scamper for a touchdown. Then James Conner added 100 yards rushing himself, plus 51 total yards receiving. I see you, James, but Marvin Harrison Jr. not getting it done. He's sitting on the bench. He's about to hit the waiver wire. McBride, 5 catches, 50 yards. That's efficient, respectable. Need more. Not going to get it done against this number 2 ranked Miami defense. Number 1 against the pass. Number 13 against the run. I see you, Miami. You don't have an offense. Well, here comes Tua Tagovailoa back behind center. Stay healthy. They need you because Tyreek Hill, 1 catch coming off a bye week. Waddle, 1 catch coming off a bye week. Jonnu Smith had 7 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown. Huntley with 87 yards passing. You had to find somebody, right? That quarterback carousel has been horrible, but I think you're going to get a spark. I think you're going to get it done at home. Final score, 21-17. Dolphins back in the winning column. In the division game, we got the 2-5 New York Jets coming off a loss to those Steelers, hitting the road to New England. Take on these 1-6 Patriots coming off a loss to those Jaguars. Now, Drake May had a game. 276 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. I'll take that. Top target, Hunter Henry, 8 receptions, 92 yards, no touchdowns, but that's a good game. Demario Douglas, we need more than 2 receptions from you. Definitely against this New York Jets defense led by Sauce Gardner. Currently in concussion protocol. I think he's going to play. Welcome back, Hassan Reddick. Sure up that rush defense. They starting to get their pieces in place. Aaron Rodgers, he also threw for 276 yards. He threw 2 picks, though, and 1 touchdown. Breece Hall got 100 of those reception yards on 6 catches. Didn't do well in the run game with 38 yards, but he got a touchdown. Davante Adams, in his first game with Aaron Rodgers, 3 catches, 30 yards. And they still have to feed the beast, Garrett Wilson. Only 5 catches for 60 yards. Still going to be too much for this team out there in New England. I think the Jets going to get it done on the road. Final score, 24-14, the Jets. In another division game, we got the 5-2 Baltimore Ravens coming off a victory over those Bucks. Hitting the road to Cleveland and take on these 1-6 Browns coming off a loss to those Bengals. This team continues to spiral. Deshaun Watson torn Achilles. Man, you can see it pop in the video. I already knew Jameis Winston was going to get in the game somehow, some way. Damn, if only I would have said something, but I did find my cup. Deshaun Watson and company, they've been playing bad. Can he hold on to his job even through this game? I don't think so. I think Jameis Winston will be coming in at some point. They've already traded Amari Cooper to the Bills. Who knows? Maybe Jameis Winston and Nick Chubb and David Njoku can rally this team. But not this week. Not the way Lamar Jackson has been playing. Are you kidding me? Over 280 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, no picks. Ran the ball 9 times for 50 yards. Man, MVP again, please. How about Zay Flowers not having the kind of game that we're used to seeing? That was amazing. All those stats, and he really wasn't involved. But he had help because Rashad Bateman, 4 catches, over 120 yards and a touchdown. Don't forget about the big boy, Derrick Henry. No touchdowns rushing, but chalk it up for another 170-plus rushing yards. He did catch a touchdown pass. And then Mark Andrews, 2 receiving touchdowns. He's going to move up that tight end board rather quickly. This team is the real deal. Of course they are. Number 1 offense in the league. Number 1 rush offense. Number 3 pass offense. They got the number 1 fantasy player in all of football with Lamar Jackson. Number 1 fantasy quarterback, obviously. They got the number 1 rusher in fantasy football. Number 3 overall fantasy player. This team is real deal in all phases. They're going to take care of business against this Cleveland Brown team on the road. Final score, 28-14 in my easy pick of the week, Ravens. Got the 4-2 Philadelphia Eagles coming off a victory over those Giants. Hitting the road to Cincinnati to take on these 3-4 Bengals coming off a victory over those Browns, who've been playing some good ball lately. Joe Burrow was efficient, 181 yards, 2 touchdowns. One of those touchdowns went to Jamar Chase, the number 1 fantasy wide receiver in all of football. He added 55 yards receiving. Other one went to T. Higgins, also added 82 yards receiving. Is this going to be enough to get it done against this Eagles defense? I don't think so. Currently the number 5 defense overall, number 5 against the pass, number 9 against the run. Jalen Hurts only passed 14 times, but he completed 10 of them for over 100 yards and a touchdown. That touchdown was to A.J. Brown, who added 89 yards of his own receiving. But the man of the hour, Saquon Barkley, only took 17 carries to get 176 yards, plus a touchdown, added 2 receptions to the mix. But I bet the Giants wish they would have kept him now. Too late. See the Eagles taking one on the road. Final score in a close game, 24-21. Eagles. Got the 4-3 Indianapolis Colts coming off a victory over those Dolphins, hitting the road to Houston to take on these 5-2 Texans, who suffered a loss at the hands of the Packers. Anthony Richardson took over the starting role from Joe Flacco. I think it was a week too soon. He only threw for 120-plus yards. No interceptions, no touchdowns. Josh Downs, only 1 catch. Michael Pittman Jr., only 3 catches. Couldn't run the ball. Now, Jonathan Taylor is practicing this week. They're going to need him to mess with this Texas defense over there. But C.J. Stroud didn't light it up either. He threw for 86 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. They're missing Nico Collins. Stephon Diggs, only 5 catches, 23 yards. Didn't even hear from Tank Dell, really. Now, they still have Joe Mixon, ran the ball 25 times, I believe. Rushed for over 110-plus yards, 2 touchdowns. He carried the squad. They have to do it again. I think they will. I think they're going to bounce back. C.J. Stroud's going to throw for 3 touchdowns in this one. Final score, 24-14. Texans. Got the 1-5 Tennessee Titans coming off a loss to those Bills. Hitting the road to Detroit, take on these 5-1 Lions after giving the Vikings their first loss on the year. Only bright spot on this Titans team has been their defense. Number 1 overall, number 2 against the pass, number 6 against the run. Just not putting up the points. Mason Rudolph had a decent game, 200 yards passing, threw a touchdown, no picks. Calvin Ridley, 3 receptions, 42 yards. Tony Pollard, 60 rushing yards. Now you're trading D-Hop to the Chiefs for a 5th-round pick that could become a 4th. They're conceding. They're going to lose anyway. This Lions team is real deal, led by Jared Goff. Are you serious? 22 of 25? 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Amon-Ra St. Brown caught 8 of those for over 110 yards receiving. It was 112, caught a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs, 15 carries. I think he had 116 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Laporta, 1 catch. It's not going to get it done, man. They do have the number 9 defense overall. I think it's either 4 or 5 against the run, but they'll give you some passing yards. This Detroit team is real deal. Now, Jameson Williams, 2-game suspension, and put the performance-enhancing drugs down. You don't need it. You're killing your squad over there, but they're going to get it done in a blowout. Final score, 28-10 Lions. And yet another division game. We got the 4-3 Atlanta Falcons coming off a loss to those Seahawks, hitting the road to Tampa to take on these 4-3 Bucks, coming off a loss to those Ravens, right? They lost more than just the game. They lost the number 1 wide receiver in all of fantasy football, Chris Godwin. Horrible-looking injury. I mean, his foot was facing in the wrong direction. Season ending for sure, hopefully not career ending. He was having his best year by far. Going to also have to do this without Mike Evans, dealing with a hamstring of his own. To the waiver wire you go. There you'll find Jalen McMillan, that nice little rookie they have. But also you'll find Sterling Shepard. Pick them up at your own risk. The ones who I think need to step up for Baker Mayfield, Cade Otton, Bucky Irvin, and Rasheed White. If they step up, they might have a shot, but not in this game. I think Kirk Cousins has all his weapons. They had a humbling experience at the hands of the Seahawks. What he threw for 230 yards, 2 interceptions, threw 1 touchdown. Thank God for Bijan. He rushed for 100 yards, got him a touch out of that. Add 40 reception yards to it as well, to his total. They also had the number 3 wide receiver in all of fantasy football, And Mr. Drake London, he caught him a touchdown. And don't forget about Mr. Kyle Pitts. They finally getting him the ball. That's what I'm talking about. I think this is too much to handle for this Bucs team this week anyway. Final score, 24-14. Falcons. Kicking off our 4 o'clock games. Got the 2-5 New Orleans Saints coming off a butt whipping at the hands of those Broncos, hitting the road to L.A., take on these 3-3 Chargers, who suffered a loss at the hands of those Cardinals. Hopefully the Saints are going to get Olave and Derek Carr back, because this offense is spiraling in the wrong direction. And Spencer Rattler, he threw for 172 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Congratulations to Alvin Kamara, got a 2-year extension. Currently the number 2 running back in fantasy football, number 3 fantasy player overall. But this is the worst defense in the league. Second worst against the pass. All that said and done, now they got to come over here to L.A. to play the number 4 ranked defense in this Charger team. Number 4 against the pass, number 7 against the run. Justin Herbert had a decent game. Well, he threw for a lot of yards, actually. Just missed 350. It was a 349. No touchdowns, no picks, but very efficient. J.K. Dobbins going to have to play better, or at least that offensive line is going to have to block better for him. I mean, Will Dissly, he had a decent game at the tight end position. 8 catches, just hit, 80 yards, no touchdowns. I think this is going to be enough. That defense is going to be enough to get the win at home against this horrible Saints team in a low-scoring game. Final score, 17-14 Chargers. Got the 5-2 Buffalo Bills coming off a victory over those Titans, hitting the road to Seattle, take on these 4-3 Seahawks, coming off a victory over those Falcons. Geno didn't have to work too hard in this one. He threw for over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. DK Metcalf just missed 100 yards, 99 yards receiving, got a touch. Kenneth Walker gets it done in the air and on the ground, 69 yards rushing, touchdown. 24 yards receiving, added to those totals, another touch. Number 1 offense in the league. But that other side of the ball, they got Josh Allen, Mr. Superman. He getting it done. Number 2 fantasy quarterback, number 5 fantasy player overall. Threw for 323 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Keon Coleman, 4 receptions, 125 yards, and a touch. James Cook got involved, got him a touchdown. Ray Davis got another touchdown. This offense is nice. They're getting it done. Now, bring in Amari Cooper. First game with the Bills, also got a touchdown. Too much on that side of the ball, plus a very nice defense. I think Buffalo's going to get it done on the road. Final score, 24-17. The Bills got the 4-2 Chicago Bears coming off a bye week. Heading to Washington to play these 5-2 Commanders. Coming off a victory over those Panthers. Put up a 40-burger on them boys. Did it for the most part without Jaden Daniels. He went out early in the game with a rib injury. In comes Marcus Mariota. 200 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. I see you, Marcus, trying to resurrect that career. Brian Robinson Jr., 70 yards rushing, got a touchdown out of it. Then Scary Terry McLaurin, he just missed 100 yards, but he had 98 yards receiving, no touchdowns. Jaden Daniels not playing, and as of now, he didn't practice today, which is Wednesday. It's not looking good. They're not beating the Chicago team. Currently ranked the number 3 defense against the pass, number 8 against the run. Very nice defense. Still have the number 3 tight end in all of football, and Cole Kmet, even after a bye week. I'm liking Caleb Williams. His game has improved since early this season. Of course, Keenan Allen starting to get more involved. Still DJ Moore show. Loving the Chicago team right now. Definitely this week. Final score in a low-scoring game for those Commanders. 24-10 Chicago. 6-0 Kansas City Chiefs. Only remaining undefeated team in the league. Coming off a victory over those 49ers. Heading to Vegas to play my 2-5 Raiders. Coming off a loss to those Rams. You look bad. I mean, Aiden O'Connell, he's out 4 to 6 weeks with a fractured thumb. Jacoby Myers, he ain't played all year. Probably won't play in this game either. Almost had a 100-yard rusher in Alexander Madison, but he missed it. Just rushed over 92 yards, no touchdowns. Trey Tucker, he's not doing much of anything, 3 receptions. We do have the number 1 tight end in Brock Bowers in fantasy football, 10 receptions, 90 yards, no touchdowns. While with the Chiefs over there, it's not like Patrick Mahomes lit it up. Didn't throw for 150 yards, 2 interceptions, no picks. Coming off a bye week. Xavier Worthy, 3 catches. Kelsey, 4 catches. Thank God they got that bruiser, Kareem Hunt. He did his thing, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. They did trade for Mr. D-Hop, DeAndre Hopkins. Nice move. I mean, I think he's going to be a major piece if you got him in fantasy. Or if he happens to be on the waiver wire, you better go get him. I think the Chiefs going to get this done on the road against my Raiders. Final score, 24-14 Chiefs. The 1-6 Carolina Panthers took a butt whipping to those Commanders last week. Now they're hitting the road to see these Denver Broncos sitting at 4-3, surging after whipping up on those Saints last week themselves. Andy Dalton, 93 yards, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. Yeah, it should be Bryce Young this week starting the game, in my opinion. Chuba Hubbard's been the only bright spot. He did rush for a touchdown. That's it. 30th ranked defense. It's not going to be a game. Broncos going to take care of business. They do have the number 1 defense in fantasy football. Bo Nix might not throw for a lot of yards, but he'll run that rock. 10 carries, 75 yards. There was a Javonte Williams sighting, 88 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. I'm going to start you this week. Hopefully you can do it again. Cortland Sutton. I mean, it's not his fault. But man, he's looking bad. I had to cut him. I still think Denver's going to take care of business at home to get that 5th victory. Final score, 24-10 Broncos. In the division game, we got the 3-3 Dallas Cowboys coming off a bye week, giving them 2 weeks to prepare for this game. Heading to San Francisco to take on these 3-4 49ers, coming off a loss to those Chiefs. Not the typical Brock Purdy type game. 3 interceptions, no touchdowns. Brandon Ayuk with that devastating knee injury out for the year. You may want to go scoop up Juwan Jennings if he's available. I doubt it. But you remember what he did when Ayuk was out earlier this year. I think he's going to do it again. Now, Jordan Mason got to step up until they get their superstar running back, Christian McCaffrey, back. Debo, he was out with pneumonia-like symptoms, fluid in his lungs. Will he play this week? They still got Kerry Kittles, number 2 tight end in all of fantasy football. They do have the number 2 offense. They do have the number 2 pass offense. Still don't think they're going to be able to get it done. Dallas had a bye week. This is a divisional game. I think CeeDee Lamb, it's time for you to step up. I think Dak, it's time for you to earn that money. Get your boy Ferguson, your tight end, the ball. Who's going to be the bell cow at the running back position? I don't care who it is. Give him 25 carries. Can we see this defense get healthy and show up a little bit? I think they're going to get it done on the road. Try to make a push for these playoffs. Final score, 24-21. Them Cowboys. In our Monday night game, we got the 2-5 New York Giants coming off a loss to those Eagles. Only scored 3 points. Hitting the road to Pittsburgh, take on these 5-2 Steelers. Coming off a convincing victory over those Jets. Somehow Daniel Jones still has a starting job. 99 yards passing, no touchdowns, no picks. This is after getting Malik Neighbors back. 4 catches, 40 yards. Wan'Dale Robinson, 6 catches, 23 yards. Timeshare at the running back position after Tyrone Tracy was running that ball very well. Between him and Devin Singletary, 11 carries combined, did next to nothing. This team is looking bad. Maybe it was the Eagles' defense. We shall see. But good luck against Pittsburgh this week. Sitting on the number 12 defense overall, number 5 against the run. They're sitting over there with Russell Wilson. He balled last week, 260-plus yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. How about George Pickens? Welcome back, sir. 5 catches, 111 yards. He got a touch. Najee Harris was that bell cow. Over 100 yards rushing. He also got a touchdown. Steelers going to take this one easily at home to get that 6th victory. Not even close in my opinion. 28-17. Steelers going to get this one. There you have it. My picks are in final. Going to also drop my bets. We'll see how I do this week. Meet me back here on Wednesday of next week. Well, I'll definitely go over how I did with my predictions in week 8 while I drop my week 9 predictions. Until then, peace.